Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about my initial impressions of Epoch. So first things first, we're going to notice a couple of things. But the very first one is that there's additional nodes to every path. And for most part, whilst I haven't done all of the lanes, the added amount of difficulty was kind of manageable. For instance, on the fancy footwork, every 15 seconds all of the attacker's power is removed unless they are performing special attack or dodging backwards when this timer expires. There were a few times I got caught up with it. For most part, it didn't determine any of the fights whether I could or couldn't do them really. There were times when I lost my power. Sometimes I was at 2 bars of power about to be throwing a special attack and then it was very annoying. For the most part, it didn't really bother me that much, especially in some of the fights where you could slow down and kind of pay conscious attention to be dashing back when you do want to retain your power, mainly like in Heimdall fight, for instance. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. Haven't done all of the lanes. I think this one might be a bit finicky here, because if you're striking the opponent whilst they are against the wall, you're going to be taking a lot of damage, so that's... sounds quite awful. But then there is this death by debuffs, where for as long as you spam debuffs, opponent should be going down very, very quickly. And that should be making the fights significantly easier for most part, to be honest, because debuff spamming is not that bad. Plus we can have, masteries and any non-stun debuffs that's fairly wide, so we need to apply effectively 50 debuffs to take down any of these fights. It fundamentally changes the path, but it doesn't seem too bad. So I'll let you guys know more, and Hurt Locker is kind of some relatively easy to play around for the most part. Right, so that's that. Next, Kabam doubled the health pool. Effectively, the health pool on these guys is twice as big as it was in the original piece of content. And that didn't bother me too much either, I'll be honest. Like, if you can do the fight, you can do the fight. At the very least, so far, when I went through, Cassie was a solo, Gwenpool was a solo, Iron Fist was effectively a solo. Toad was almost a solo. I kind of screwed up till at the end with Thanos. Heimdall, I messed up. I used the team revive. And Prowler was a solo. So it was somewhat of a painless run, comparatively speaking. I used these exact champions. I used the Tuma. Tuma I used for Iron Fist and Gwenpool. Very, very good for that. I'm sure you can use a ton of different champions for Gwenpool because it's kind of skill-based fight. Against Iron Fist, you ideally want to use champions that do not rely on buffs or debuffs to do damage. So, Bullseye could also be an option. I'm sure that, somebody even like Kate Bishop should be able to nuke it, but I just chose to went with full team of 7-stars here because I remember that Atuma was very good for Gwenpool, and I thought in theory he should be good for Iron Fist, and he was. And then I used Thanos for Toad, everyone for Heimdall, just level 3 spams and done, and Serpent for Prowler. It was quite tricky to manage the Prowler fight with the double power drain mechanic, but it was still doable. So yeah, it wasn't that awful, and there we go. The increased health pool, again, fine. I don't think it had to be, but if Kabam wants to make it more challenge, fair. Now this is where the problems start, though. This is where the problems are. I hate this fight. My brain after doing this fight was absolutely cooked. Like, I couldn't think. There was this bizarre thing, and this is going to be like a personal anecdote, and I got into a little bit of a scuff with Mando because I was like so absorbed in the fight and my brain was absolutely fuming. I don't even remember like a part of conversation like that I had with Mando where I'll take all the negativity and fault and blame for me not being the best conversation partner there, because I was genuinely just A, frustrated, and B, befuddled by this fight. The thing is, the entire basis of this effectively is there's a set combination that you need to do when he throws his level 1 or level 2. So level 1, like dodge, parry, parry, light attack, dodge. And it's kind of, you know, tricky to learn that sequence like immediately, right? So you need to learn the timing of it all. Then you need to learn the animations of it all. And if you make a mistake anywhere within that combo, obviously, you know, you take quite a bit of damage. So it was like dodge, parry, parry, line dodge. Fine. Finally got it, and like I did it the first or second time. And then starting like the second phase, there's this entire other combination, which is parry, parry, light, dodge, dodge, up. And not only you need to learn both of those combinations, you need to recognize which one of those combinations Ares is starting, because it's at random. There's no HUD, there's no call out whether he's using level 1 or level 2 animation. And then you need to execute them perfectly. And it's random every time. And it... That's before you get to the next phases, where in fourth phase, Ares gets haste, where you can't really intercept him, where he goes unstoppable when he dashes forward. Keep in mind he's stun immune the entire time, and his heavy attack reaches across the entire screen. And in the final phase, there's still that haste present, and he gets 99 immortality charges, and you need to execute everything perfectly, because one mistake automatically KOs you. Because effectively you degen down to 1% health, and yeah, if you make a mistake on any of the special attacks, you're immediately dead. You can remove additional of his immortality charge by intercept, but the AI is not making it easy for you. So ultimately, it was a miserable experience. It really was. I'm thinking whether I hated this fight more or the Abyss of Legends Grandmaster. Or, sorry, Abyss of Legends Collector. I think this one. This one, like, that fight was effectively made like a revive spam burn type thing. Just nuke it as much as you can, and at the very least, your brain wasn't frying up. This Ares fight, and here's the deal: I get it's meant to be challenging, and I'm not making any claims of being like this amazingly insane player or anything like that. At the same time, I've been playing Masters levels Wars till Masters level Wars existed. I have been effectively C5, C4 type of player, C4, C5 mainly recently. For a while I kind of skimmed back there, but let's say I'm a solid C5. Like today before the Battlegrounds went away, I was casually chilling in like spot number 18 or 19 in C5 in Battlegrounds. So it would be like, I don't know, top 15 Battlegrounds in general would be, you know, I think a fairly fair estimation. And this fight made me entirely feel like I'm absolutely shit at the game. Like I'm just garbage. Like awful. And you genuinely need to ask about is like when, you know, complexity is too much. I don't necessarily want to raise up pitchforks and stuff like that, but I like hard fights. I like challenges. I like this entire thing, but I hate this Ares fight. Because at this point, I genuinely feel like it's asking too much of me. To remember too much, to study too much, to notice too much, and most importantly, you know, to react to it all, to be fast enough to recognize and process all that information. So not only I need to study a Bible, then I need to memorize the entire attack patterns and the exact timing of them, which is something that I can do only with, you know, practice and revives. And then obviously execute it perfectly flawlessly, because Kabam is adjusting the timing of those special attacks with every phase they get slightly quicker. This fight genuinely made me feel like I'm just not good or clever or fast enough to play this game. And, you know, if that is the goal, If Kabam thinks that is fun and challenging, then, you know, go ahead. But I bet there are maybe 50 players who agree to that. I bet that, you know, might be a couple hundred players who are capable of doing this fight, you know, at the very least from the get-go, reasonably well. Now, obviously, as I do more paths, maybe I'm gonna get better at it, maybe I'm gonna get more used to it or something like that. But initially, on the first clear, I hated every second I had to do this fight. It was extremely demoralizing. And again, maybe, you know, with repetitive attempts, it's gonna get better. I will obviously still attempt to make a guide for it. I will clear the rest of the paths, regardless of how many revives I need to take. First time it was like, I think nearly 20. I think it was like close to 20 revives to clear this, so. And it felt awful. So that's my first experience here. If you have started Epoch of Pain, let me know what was your experience, and yeah, I'll make the guides, I'll keep you guys posted, and bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next